Welcome back to NBL Overtime live in Sydney. The revolving chair of the who's who of New South Wales continues here. We welcome in the Kings CEO, the mastermind of one of the best rosters in the league. You did your part fine putting this roster together. Chris Pongrass, welcome in. Now, at the start of the year, they told me, the media heroes told me that you guys were going to go undefeated and you weren't going to lose a game. Right now, you're still sitting very pretty on the ladder, but there has been more negativity around the Kings, it seems, and there has been positive. Do you think maybe that's a little bit harsh, just considering that it's such a talented roster?
Yes and no. Like, I actually think, you know, that it comes with the territory, right? You want to put a great group of guys together. People would come out and say we had a great roster, and I believe we do, and we did at the time as well. Playing in Sydney, you guys know all too well, right? It comes with the territory of being the hunted. So, you know, I think that fuels us a little bit. And they're not talking about us now, which is great, mate. We're sitting right there in third.
We don't want to put you on the spot, but we will.
Yeah.
So Olgun was just here and said by the end of this week there could be a third import signed, and he could be a point guard slash person that brings up the ball.
Yeah.
We don't, you know, we just want to know, who is it?
No names on here, you know.
Okay, next one in. Get him out.
Exactly.
Get him out.
No, look, yeah, we've been looking for a month, and I think that was always the case with the flexibility of this roster, right? We always sign to imports knowing that if there's a point in time that we want to make a change, if there's an injury or if there isn't an injury, obviously the unfortunate news with Jalen Galloway going down for the season, we just have that flexibility to be able to bring someone in. So we've been canvassing the right player, and look, to be perfectly, you know, honest, we're not looking to bring in a superstar. I think we want to bring in someone who's going to be, you know, just complementary to the pieces. It's been talked about ad nauseum about the talent that we have on this roster, and I don't think that we need to bring someone in who's going to command the ball for 35 minutes a game, right?
Can I just give you the floor for a moment? Because there's a lot of talk around Cam Oliver, people saying they need to make a change. He's not bringing it at the moment. And we'll talk on Cam Oliver in a bit, but he's going to remain a King for the rest of the season. That is for sure.
Yeah, look, Cam's been great, and you see all the media hype, and it's nothing that's coming out internally. I'm sure, you know, we imagine him coming in, and where we're at now, we're still sitting in third place, right? I think the best is still yet to come. We're still finding our pieces and how we run in this group, right? We've got a lot of new faces, a lot of new coaching staff. We're just past half the way through the season. And if the best is yet to come for us now, I'd rather be peaking in February than peaking in December.
Yep. And Chris, you do such a great job with running this franchise, but how do you deal with something like the Cam Oliver, Brian Goorjian media storm that happens from time to time? What role do you play in trying to moderate or assist or admonish Brad for his thoughts?
You know, it's funny because I think coaches get torched if they're not open and honest, right? If they're closed and they don't want to express things.
We'll torch them we'll torch them no matter what.
Exactly, right? But in the past, it's like, if you don't say anything in the press conference, it's like, then stories organically come out that aren't true. And I think that Brian's just being open and transparent with the group, and I don't think it's coming from a place of malice. I actually think it's trying to drive our group, and it's just Brian, you know, again, trying to get the best out of his guys. So I don't think there's anything in there that our group haven't heard before, because we talk about it all internally. And so my role in it is, again, I'm not going to sit here and moderate people. I just help manage. If there's ever a fallout, then it falls to me to pick it up, right?
And the success continues off the floor. We look at this venue, it's packed almost every week, and the people show up, and it's just not a crowd that's here to kind of view the game. They're into it passionately. So the success off the floor must make you and the ownership group quite proud.
Thrilled. You know, what we've seen in the last 5 years about the trajectory of this sport in Sydney particularly, you know, we're hoping to have 11,000, 12,000 here tonight, which immediately post-Christmas, this is where we start to take off. So we've only had a handful of home games coming in to start the year, and again, we just want Sydney fans to be able to come out and support a team that's going to contend year on year. We know Sydney loves winners, mate.
Oh, yeah.
So we've seen them when they're not winning and how they show up. So I think we've brought a good fan base together where even if we're not performing, they're going to sit and show up. And again, we've seen them help drive us.
When I'm lying in bed at night and I'm thinking, what do I want to do? And I'm thinking of a meeting. There's Chris Pongrass.
Where's this
There's
going?
Luke Longley. There's Andrew Bogut and there's Brian Goorjian. What the hell? That must be the greatest chat in the world, you four talking about building this team.
I'm glad that I'm in your thoughts while you're lying in bed. I'll start with that.
And there's not much room left in the bed because Luke Locker's in
Derek's
there
not.
as well.
Derek is not.
Of course, I mean, between Luke, Brian, Andrew, you know, like it's a great group to be able to work with, and the best part of it is really collaborative. I don't think there's anyone in there. We take ideas from everyone, even our assistant coaches and our ownership group. I think it's a really collaborative approach. And again, I think we've seen this in our import search and who we're going after. We'd only bring in the right fit and the right person and the right character. Bringing in an ego into the locker room at this stage of it, that's nothing that we want to do. We want to bring in someone who's just going to be a complementary piece to this group.
So looking at the league as a whole right now, Chris, give me two teams that you're really impressed with at the moment.
I think everyone's obviously going to say Illawarra. I think from what they've built and where they've come from last year, I think Tatum's done a fantastic job with their group. And they've got a lot of returning faces. I feel like a lot of those guys know their role and they come out and play hard every night. I think what you've seen about what they're doing offensively is just kind of scratching the surface. I think they're a really good defensive team, although the numbers might not obviously show it. They just got a lot of players who play hard and know their role. So I think Illawarra have been really good. And again, I know Melbourne have slipped a couple of games, but where they've been to start the year, they're going to be fine come the rest of the year.
Agreed.
In a bit of a Cluedo sense, now you said you're going to bring another guy in, and you said you don't want to bring an ego into the locker room, someone who will easily fit in. Is previous NBL experience something you're looking towards there? Is it potentially going to be a name we've seen before?
Are you trying to get a job?
No, I'm trying to get an answer.
It's not. Again, we haven't finalised anything. We're working towards. I think by the end of the week we'll hopefully have someone. We've canvassed names of guys who've been in the NBL before. I think the one we'll land in probably hasn't. Again, it's not going to be a name necessarily that people are always familiar with. But again, I think it's just going to be someone that's going to come in and know their place and know their role. And again, I think we're just excited about the prospect of adding a piece, a nice complementary piece, a connecting piece. And Luke's been talking about an amplifier, right? I think it's someone who's going to amplify Jalen, amplify Zave, amplify Cam. I think it's just someone who's going to really just take the pressure off them in these periods and be able to, allow them to do what they do best.
And before we let you go on January 1st, is that big beard still going to be growing out? Are we going to keep that one rolling?
My wife would hate me for saying yes. I'm going to keep it through to the end of the season. I'm just trying to replicate yours, but it's not filling in as nicely, mate. So
unfortunately, you can only have a beard like this if you don't have a proper job, because you've got to manicure it a lot. That is a beard of a working man. Thank you for joining us, Chris, and good luck tonight.
Thank you for having me on.
We're not far away. The Sydney Kings taking on the Adelaide 36ers. Massive one coming up.